So VectorSurv is pretty flexible in the type of vectors and pathogens that you can enter into the system. I worked as a public health entomologist in Hawaii and for the Minnesota State Department of Health when I was a MPH student. And obviously, those two locations have very different vector-borne disease issues, but VectorSurv is flexible enough to accommodate both locations. As new vector-borne disease concerns emerge, we just wanted to make sure that you all were aware that the VectorSurv could also be used for other vector species, not just mosquitoes and ticks, which is what we most typically talk about as vector-borne disease epidemiologists and public health entomologists in the United States. Um, to be able to enter additional vector species, you're probably going to want to know about some additional options that are available through VectorSurv that you might not be familiar with. So we're going to start by going to the arthropod module. And underneath of config, we're going to look at two sets of options here. The first is the available species list. So the available species list is a list of the vector species. So we're talking like the insects here that are transmitting pathogens that can be available within the VectorSurv system. So we have our Culicidae here. So here are our mosquitoes with the various genus that are available as well. If we go up here to the Acari, we'll see the various tick species. So here's all the Ixodes ticks that are available within the system. So here you're able to select what type of species your agency is regularly doing surveillance on. I will say that this is a somewhat of a flexible list or a fluid list, even as you all know, as public health entomologists, that the taxonomy for certain species isn't always permanently set. Sometimes mosquito species will change genus, or the scientific names might get adjusted over time. As well as this is obviously not a comprehensive list of all potential vector species that are known to us within public health. If your agency has the need to add in additional species, you can reach out to us. We usually do a review of any requested species that need to be added, but we can accommodate after a review. So what I'm going to do in this example is just, we're going to say that, let's say you're a mosquito control or public health agency, and you're going to increase surveillance on two separate, two different types of potential insect vectors or insects of public nuisances. So here we have our Culicoides. So these are the biting midges. These are obviously coming more into view as Oropouche virus is circulating in South America and the Caribbean. So what I'm going to do for this local mosquito control agency is I'm going to add two Culicoides species of concern. So we're going to do Culicoides periensis and sonorensis. By selecting these, they will now be available within the various lists on the collection forms for the different data forms within VectorSurv. I'm also going to go down here, and I know that Sacramento YOLO already does this type of surveillance, but we can also add Vespidae, which are like a wasp surveillance. So these are some of the wasp species that this local mosquito control agency might be, they might get calls from the public asking for them to go out and do control of this. And they might want to be recording this in VectorSurv to make sure that all of their collections are within one system, and to kind of keep a repository of all of the work that they are doing as a vector control agency. And they're able to say, hey, we are responding to these wasp complaints as well. So by selecting, so yeah, so now that these species are selected, they'll be available on the various forms. Did not save. The other set of options I want to point you to are the available trap types. So these are also very similar to the species. These are all of the trap types that are currently available within the VectorSurv system. So you might not be using all of these different trap types, but they are available to you to be selected. And again, if you're using a trap type that's not represented on this list, feel free to reach out to us. We usually, again, do a review in-house, and then we can get a new insect trap added to this list. So the ones I want to just point you to quickly is we do have a couple of wasp traps here as well. That's a very species specific type trap that you might not be using for your regular tick or mosquito surveillance. By adding these, they are now available for you to use when you're creating a new collection. So I'm just going to go through here and make a fake type of collection. Let's do this. In our new interface, you'll see that the wasp type trap that we had selected is available as a potential trap type now. I'm just going to add in a bit of data here so that we can save this collection. So we're going to say we're using this wasp worker trap. So we've successfully saved the collection. And we can see the various wasp species here now. So if we're doing a worker trap, you might have caught 20, let's say, of these wasp species, and you can save that work. So now you responded to this wasp complaint, and you're able to document that work that was done. I'm going to create one additional collection record. So we're going to set it for today. We're going to say that this one was a BG Sentinel trap. And you can do the different BG lures here. So we're just going to say that today we set a BG Sentinel trap. In the species, I'm going to find those. Here's those two Chilocoides species that we just added. So Chilocoides periensis and sonorensis. So let's add a couple of Chilocoides. Let's say we caught 50 females from this BG Sentinel trap. And then once you have the species saved, you're going to be able to create a pool from this collection. So I'm just going to create it as, let's do 55, 59, which is the next available pool number. Sorry. So here's the Chilocoides that we're saying was caught in that trap. So now we can create the pool for the Chilocoides that were caught within the BG Sentinel trap. So you'll see that a new pool is created for the Chilocoides records. And the last thing I just want to point you to is that I just want to go back to the main page. We're also able to add in additional pathogen species. So if you're doing pathogen testing that we don't currently have within the VectorSurv system, you're also going to be able to request that we add those pathogens. So an example might be, if risks Rift Valley fever were ever a concern in your jurisdiction, we could add that potential pathogen. So here's if we're adding it a new positive test result. So here's that pool that we just created. We're going to say it was tested today by PCR, and we've already added Oropouche virus as an example to the VectorSurv system. So if your agency were ever to start doing Oropouche testing, you could create your Culicoides collection records, create the associated pools, and then we could add in test records for Oropouche virus related to those pools.